Today's video is the latest episode from the Executive Search Sit Down, where I had the privilege of spending some time with Bob Burg. Now, some of you may recognize his name as the co-author from the book The Go-Giver, which I did a book review on last month, and I wanted to interview Bob because I believe his message from the book is super powerful. So I hope you all enjoy this quick interview with Bob Burg. Now, if you haven't done so already, be sure to subscribe to our channel, and if you're finding value in this content, please pass it along to a friend or a colleague. So without further ado, let's get into today's episode. All right, welcome everyone to the Executive Search Sit Down. Today we're sitting down with Bob Burg, who is the co-author of The Go-Giver, a book that I did a review on a couple of months back and received a lot of positive feedback. So I thought it would make sense to get Bob on the show here. So Bob, thanks for stopping by and thanks for taking the time.
Thank you. Thank you for your kind review and thanks for the discussion.
Yeah, of course. So for the people out there that haven't read the book or aren't familiar with the concept, well, I guess first off, Bob, can you tell us a little bit about your background and then maybe just go into the premise of the book, kind of why you wrote it?
Yeah, my background was first broadcasting, first radio and then television. And then I graduated into sales. Had no experience in sales and floundered for a while until I started reading books on selling. This is 40 years ago, so this is quite a while. It wasn't as prevalent as it is now to have all sorts of sales training and teaching and so forth. But fortunately, I plugged into some great books, Zig Ziglar's and Tom Hopkins, and then Brian Tracy. And, I just began really studying it. Then studying all the personal development, the great books, the classics, the Dale Carnegies, and all the great books that build us on the inside and then manifest success on the outside, and enjoyed it. Eventually, I began teaching others how to do what was working for me, and kind of morphed into a speaking business, and then writing. My first book was actually titled Endless Referrals: Network Your Everyday Contacts into Sales. That was my first kind of big book. That was a how-to book. Back in 2008, John David Mann, my awesome co-author, he and I collaborated on The Go-Giver, which is a business parable. And really the premise of that book is nothing more than that, shifting your focus from getting to giving. And when we say giving in this context, we simply mean constantly and consistently providing immense value to others, understanding that doing so is not only a more fulfilling way of conducting business, it's the most financially profitable way as well. Not for some mysterious type of woo-woo reasons or anything. It's actually very logical. It's rational when you're that person, that sometimes too rare a person, who can take your focus off yourself and place it on making other people's lives better. People feel good about you. They want to get to know you. They like you. They trust you. They want to be in relationship with you.
Yeah, absolutely. And that's why I wanted to bring you on, because I think our reaction is to, hey, if I'm doing all this giving, which we're going to cover later, but that's kind of like the initial pushback that you're going to hear from people that are in sales or in a position where they're trying to influence other people. They have this perception that, hey, what's in it for me? Is this going to be profitable? But what you guys propose is kind of this different way of approaching it, which I think is going to be more beneficial for everyone. And that's why I wanted to get this message out there. So before we get into that last law, can you walk us through kind of the 5 laws and maybe just the basic, the parable of the book that you referred to, kind of the premise and then the 5 laws? Just a brief overview of it.
Yeah, absolutely. And understand that, when salespeople have an issue with that philosophy, okay, again, it's concrete, it's rational. And I would ask any of them to think about this. Nobody is going to buy from you because you have a quota to meet. Right? They're not going to buy from you because you need the money, or you'd like the sale to happen, or even because you're a really nice person. They're going to buy from you only because they believe they'll be better off by doing so than by not doing so. And that's the only reason why anyone should buy from you or from me or from anyone else. The good news about that is the entrepreneur or sales professional who gets that, who understands that, and can place their focus on, and what is selling? It's discovering what the other person wants, needs, or desires, and helping them to get it. So again, there's nothing about this that's self-sacrificial. or do-goody. Okay, it's doing
Right.
business in a way, and it does make you feel better, certainly doing that, because I think most salespeople do want to bring value to other people. Okay, and you can do that and make a really great income as well. So the laws are the laws of value, compensation, influence, authenticity, and receptivity. A brief thumbnail sketch. Value talks about, it's understanding the difference between price and value, right? Price is a dollar figure. Value is the relative worth or desirability of a thing, of something, to the end user or beholder. So aside from the intrinsic value of your product or service, what separates you? What distinguishes you in your prospect's mind from every other salesperson who is selling what you sell? And so it's creating such a value-based experience with that individual that you are their go-to person. They will pay top dollar for you and be glad they did, and for good reason, because they're receiving so much more in value than what they're paying. Okay.
Right.
Law number 2, the law of compensation, says your income is determined by how many people you serve and how well you serve them. So where law number 1 is all about the value you give, law number 2 is about how many lives you impact with that value. Law number 3, the law of influence, says your influence is determined by how abundantly you place other people's interests first. No, not in a way that's martyrish or self-sacrificial. It's simply understanding that all things being equal, people will do business with and refer business to those people they know, like, and trust. And there's no faster, more powerful, or more effective way to elicit those kinds of feelings toward you and others than by genuinely moving from an I focus or me focus to an other focus, looking for ways to, as Sam, one of the mentors in the story, advised Joe, to make your win all about the other person's win. Law number 4, the law of authenticity, says the most valuable gift you have to offer is yourself. One of the characters in the story, one of the mentors, Deborah, shared a very powerful lesson she learned, that all the skills in the world, the sales skills, technical skills, people skills, as important as they are, and they are indeed very, very important, they're also all for naught if you don't come at it from your true, authentic core. It's just too easy to discover and find out who and what a person really is these days. And that's a good thing.
Yeah.
But when you do, when you do show up as yourself, day after day, week after week, month after month, people feel good about you. They feel safe with you. They feel comfortable with you. Why? They know who they're getting. And as human beings, we crave consistency in others. Okay. And so, when this is the case, now you're developing those relationships. You've got people who trust you. You've got people who want to be in relationship with you, who want to do business with you, who want to refer you to others. Law number 5, the law of receptivity, says the key to effective giving is to stay open to receiving. It means, sure, you breathe out, but you've also got to breathe in. Try doing one without the other. Doesn't work, right? Not in order to sustain life and survive and thrive. We breathe out, we breathe in. We breathe out carbon dioxide, we breathe in oxygen. We breathe out, which is giving. We breathe in, which is receiving. Despite the message of lack that we get from the world around us, the fact is giving and receiving are not opposite concepts. Giving and receiving are simply two sides of the very same coin. They work in tandem. You're not a giver or a receiver. You're a giver and a receiver. But what you know is that the way life works is the giving comes first. You've got to focus on the giving, just like you wouldn't go say to a fireplace, okay, you give me some fire and then I'll throw on some logs and a newspaper and light a match. Just like you wouldn't go up to the teller at the bank and say, first give me an interest payment and then I'll deposit some money. Life doesn't work that way. And successful people deal in truths. So here's the thing, money is simply an echo of value. Right? It's the thunder, if you will, to value's lightning, which means nothing more than that the value must be the focus, the value you provide another human being. Focus on the giving of value. Focus on the giving, and then allow the receiving.
Yeah, there's so much to unpack there. I think when I was reading the book, one of the biggest takeaways for me was I think the fourth law, the real estate agent. I think it was Deborah,
right,
where she was struggling. She learned all the closes and this and that, and then she was about to give up, and then she's like, "Oh, I'll do this last showing anyway. So I'm just going to be myself." Right, and that's what turned out to like really launch her success, and that really hit home for me because I think early on, and a lot of the folks that I coach and mentor, they're so focused on trying to be better at sales and be a salesperson. It's like, just be yourself.
Yeah.
Right. That's usually like the best
seen on TV about sales. Right.
Right.
They're trying to model being that, slick, very kind of, and no, exactly. You hit it on the head. Be yourself. Doesn't mean you don't train and learn and study. Absolutely. Of course. But you approach it through your core authentic values.
Yeah. And I think, the other takeaway that I had was that fifth law. Like at the end, we're wrapping up the book, and Pindar actually has Joe go through that exercise of like, okay, take a deep breath in, right, and then the breathe out exercise. Like you got to do both. And I actually did that myself. I was like, that really drove home that point, right, of being open to doing both, and that really helped me like wrap my head around the idea of, okay, if you give, you got to be open to receiving as well. Because I think that still is going to be a block that people are going to have, because it is counterintuitive to maybe the way that they're used to doing business, right? Hey, you give me something, I'll give you something, right? But I think what I took away from it was like, sometimes you have to be the first one to give and initiate that, but also being open to receiving.
Well said. Very well said. Absolutely.
Yeah. Well, Bob, I think that's a great way to wrap up the show here. Where can people go to find the book, or where can they find out more about you and your co-author here, John David Mann?
Sure. They can go to Burg, BURG.com. And that's my site where I pretty much have everything there, a whole bunch of resources, including a new, a free mini course called Selling the Go-Giver Way, which they can find right on the site, or they can go to thegogiver.com/selling.
Perfect. Well, I think everybody should go out and get a copy of the book if they haven't done so already. So Bob, thanks a lot for the time.
My pleasure. Thank you.
All right, so that's it for today's video. We hope you're getting value out of this content, and if you are, be sure to subscribe to our channel and share with a friend or a colleague. And also, if you have ideas for future video topics, please drop those in the comments below. I really would love to hear from you. So until next time, I'm Jim Schaefer, and we'll catch you on the next episode.